when we look back 20 years from now, we will ask ourselves, what in the world did we do? Why did we allow this to happen? Once the greatest nation on the planet, and we allowed 537 people to destroy it. Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Ladies and gentlemen, are you prepared for this winter? Are you getting ready to have all of those things that you need to make it through this winter? I'm not talking about Thanksgiving. I'm not talking about Christmas. I'm talking about being able to have those things that you need in order to make it through the winter in a manner that does not pose a threat to you or your family. Meaning, are you going to have enough food? Meaning, are you going to have enough water? Are you going to have enough energy backup? Be it in the form of fuel, propane, electricity, if you have an electric backup system, be it a generator, solar system, etc. Are you going to have those things that you need that are basic to our needs in order to make it through this winter? Because ladies and gentlemen, things just don't seem to be getting any better. And this is going to be part of this video here. I'll talk about this later on. But are you ready for a sick out? I guess that's what you can call it, a sick out. Meaning what happened here last weekend with the airline pilots. But we'll talk about that here in a second. I wanted to start with this right here, ladies and gentlemen. All of those cargo ships that we've been hearing about for weeks now that are anchored off of Los Angeles, and not talking about the ones that are anchored off the East Coast, off of the Gulf, just off Los Angeles, they face a 4-week wait before they even get unloaded. And then after that, they have to get loaded, be it with full or empty containers. From what I understand, the containers that we're sending back on those ships, about 75% of them are empty. But they're facing a 4-week wait just to get unloaded. Let me see. Here it says trains in Chicago are backed up 25 miles. Those ships that are waiting to be unloaded onto trucks and onto trains now have to wait on another infrastructure to be relieved before they can continue to get unloaded. We all know what's going on with trucking, that there's just not enough truck drivers. And there's not enough trucks available. And if there are enough trucks and enough truck drivers, now we have a whole bunch of trucks sitting on the sideline waiting on parts that they can't get a hold of in order to make them roadworthy so that they can actually get on the road and do what they're intended to do, which is haul our product, right? So are you getting ready? It says here, Americans face shortages of cars, shoes, and exercise gear as holiday season looms. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish that this was the only thing that we were facing shortages of. Cars, shoes, and exercise gear. That's not that big of a deal. But what they're not telling you here is that it's everything that's at jeopardy. These trains, these trucks, these ships, they have things in them that we need, that we use on an everyday basis. And everything right now is at jeopardy of not being delivered in a timely manner. And by the time that it gets delivered, ladies and gentlemen, how long will that be? How many people will have to go without? Get it now. Get it now, because it's going to get more expensive if it's even available. Get it now. Look at all of the long-term food storage companies that are having troubles. We've all heard of oxen farms. That's fine. We've all heard of oxen farms. But look at all the other ones that are having delays and having to ship out their foods. By the way, for those of you that did order the Alaska Prepper Kit from Nutrient Survival, I talked to them yesterday. We had a short meeting, and all of those kits will be out no later than the end of this week. They have them all put together. Unfortunately, there was a hiccup in the mail system. So imagine that, ladies and gentlemen. There was a hiccup in the postal mail system. They were supposed to get a delivery of something, and it didn't get there on time. Here it says supply chains have lagged far behind consumer demand due to a lack of manpower at U.S. ports and restrictions that came with this health crisis. Dozens of cargo ships anchored off coast of Los Angeles face shocking wait times due to a lack of manpower to unload goods. Off the coast of New York, dozens of cargo ships were seen anchored earlier this week. The backlog of billions of dollars of clothing, electronics, vehicles, and furniture comes as the demand for consumer goods is its highest point in history. Rail yards and trucking routes are hopelessly clogged as workers are unable to handle the ceaseless bottleneck of cargo. Ladies and gentlemen, all of these problems that we're having could have been avoided. But does that really matter? And that's my point. Does it matter whether they could have been avoided or not? Or what does it matter is what's happening right now and what may happen in the future. The government needs to intervene to stop this crisis immediately or face increased inflation and unemployment and economic breakdown. Ladies and gentlemen, did you just hear what I read? The problem that caused this problem is what needs to intervene to fix this problem. You cannot make this stuff up. And this just came out on The Hedge. Top Chinese port slammed with worst traffic jam since August. And not only that, ladies and gentlemen, but look at the energy crisis they're having in China. They're having to have blackouts on a daily basis where they have electricity 3 hours on, 3 hours off. How do you think that is faring for all of the manufacturing that goes on in China? And yes, I understand. Many people are going to say, the heck with China. The heck with them. But look around your house. Look around your house and count to see how many of those things that you rely on every day came from China. From your shoes, to your refrigerator, to your freezer. If your freezer or your refrigerator went down today and you went to buy one and the microchips in those refrigerators or freezers were made in China, would you say the heck with China? I'm not going to buy that because the microchip in there was made in China. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's what we're facing now. We're facing a shortage of everything. Why? Because we've allowed China to become the industrial powerhouse of the world. To become that nation that provides almost everything. Almost every consumer item that you can think of comes out of China. We've done that. The world has done that. We've allowed China to become that. Now, when China gets a cold, the entire world gets a cold. And guess what? China has a cold. So prepare, ladies and gentlemen. Get those things that you can now. If you see something that you know you will need in the future, and you're like, well, I can wait a couple of weeks, you may want to rethink that. And this article here states, our economy is starting to break down at a very basic level. And I couldn't have said it better, ladies and gentlemen, because that's what it is. If you take a look at all of the problems that we have, they could have very easily been averted. Very easily been averted. You know how? I mean, this is the easiest thing that our government could have done to avert any of these problems that we're having right now. It's one word. It's called freedom. It's called freedom of choice. It's called freedom to do what you want to do with your body. That's all this government had to do. And we could have averted the trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars that we've spent or wasted in the last couple of years. Now, I know that this thing is real. I know it. I know it's true. But it's by freedom of choice. It's by having freedoms to do what is best for you and your family, and for me to do what is best for me and my family, that we will progress. Freedom is the biggest driver of success that there has ever been. You allow a people to be free and they will succeed. They will find a way. But when government intervenes, just look around. Just look around. Look around at what happens when government intervenes. And then take out government intervention and then look around at what happens. The free market figures it out. Why? Because, ladies and gentlemen, we the people are not stupid. We can figure it out. We don't need for government to get in the way of progress. They say that they're doing this to help people, and in all reality, look around. Is it helping or not? I would say not. Here it says that Southwest has canceled 1,000 plus flights on Sunday. And we all know about this. But why is it? Well, according to them, it was because of weather. No, ladies and gentlemen, I'll say this, and I'll say that it's my opinion. It wasn't because of weather. It was because people want to be free to make their own choice. And they're saying, I'm not going to do it. And if I have to give up something, then I will give up something. But I'm not going to do it. Because we want to be free. But they're not going to stop, ladies and gentlemen. And that is why I say you need to prepare. You need to get everything you need, because there's going to be a great sick call. There's going to be a great sick call where many people will be taken out of the labor market, either voluntarily or involuntarily. Why? Because they're not allowed to be free and make decisions for themselves, because they're not smart enough. We are not smart enough to govern ourselves. There's 537 people up on that hill. They are smart enough, ladies and gentlemen. They are smart enough to have gotten us into the $1 trillion of debt that we are in. And that's only debt. That's not unfunded liabilities. That goes into the $150+ trillion. They're smart enough to take a great economy that was doing very well and bring it down to probably the worst that it's ever been in our history. They're smart enough to do that. And you really think that things are going to get better as long as we have our overlords watching over our best interest? Or is it our best interest? I want you to wake up. I want you to wake up to understand what's going on. It's not about these container ships. It's not about these trucks. It's not about the price of gas or oil. Ladies and gentlemen, it's about your freedom. It's time that you wake up. It's about your freedom. That is why I always say that your time is your freedom. Your labor is your freedom, because your labor is your time. When your labor is stolen from you, when your choice is stolen from you, when you are not given a choice, but an ultimatum, there is no freedom. But we'll continue to go on, ladies and gentlemen. This downfall will continue. And I know I'm ranting here, but this downfall will continue. Why? Because history says so. Because history says that we will take and take and take until we can take no more. And so far, we haven't reached the point to where we can't take no more. But wait until 40% of pilots leave their jobs or refuse to do something and get let go. Wait till that happens. Wait till 30 to 40% of the military get discharged, be it honorably or dishonorably, whatever they choose to do. Wait till truckers go on strike and don't transport any of those goods that we need, or fuel to the fuel pumps. Wait until all of that happens and we decline in what will be the Dust Bowl of history. Because that is what it will look like when we look back 20 years from now. We will ask ourselves, what in the world did we do? Why did we allow this to happen? Once the greatest nation on the planet, and we allowed 537 people to destroy it. Now I know a lot of you are going to say, well, not all of them are bad, AP. You know what I mean. It's the system. The 537 is not per se each person. It represents this system of governance that we allow to rule us from the time that we wake up to the time that we go to bed. That we allow to tell us how we can live our lives for the greater good, of course. And I would say, ask all of those countries that are now failed countries, failed nations, what greater good came about our government trying to free them. Ladies and gentlemen, our government goes everywhere in the world. in the name of freedom, in the name of democracy. But here in these United States, just look around and see what's happening. Where people in New York City can't enter a restaurant unless they show their papers. Where people in San Francisco can go into a store and steal whatever they want, as long as it's not over $950, walk out without paying and nothing happens to them. Where businesses in parts of the country, I think it's in Seattle, let's go there now. Where businesses in Seattle are forced to hire private security because there's not enough police presence. So not only are they paying these ridiculous prices in taxes, but now they have to hire private security as well. While their mayor and their governors and their elected representatives have their own private security. Can anybody say Banana Republic? So are you getting prepared, ladies and gentlemen? Are you getting prepared? Not only for what's coming, but for what's already here. Because this is the only way that we're going to make it through this. Yes, eventually there will be an overturn. Eventually the system will be overturned. Hopefully not through violence. But unfortunately history shows that that's how it happens. People have had enough. And I think that we're going to start turning into the worst part of this. Because there is not going to be enough working people to provide for us those things that we need on an everyday basis. So stock up, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this. Snow to blanket UK as rare polar vortex collapse could spell trouble for power grid. And ladies and gentlemen, the UK is already going through an energy crisis. And now they're going to get hit with this. Why am I bringing that up if I'm here in the United States? Well, first of all, we have community members on this platform from all over the world and from the UK as well. But this is what we have to look forward to, ladies and gentlemen. Have you ordered your fuel for this year? Have you topped off your LP tanks? Have you topped off your fuel tanks if you use heating oil? Have you filled up a few 5-gallon cans of gasoline in case the pump shut down? That way you can have a little bit there? Are you preparing for this winter? And if you're not, then ask yourselves, who is it that you think that is going to come to save you? Who's going to come to save you when your lights go out? Who's going to come to save you when you run out of heating fuel? Who's going to come to save you when you can't get gasoline but you have an emergency and you need to get to the hospital? And just like the police aren't there for the people in Seattle, the EMTs aren't available, or at least in a timely manner, to come and help you. Who's going to come to save you when you hear your door being picked in the middle of the night and you can't call the police because you know they're not going to come and help you? Or you dial 911 and they put you on hold. Who's going to come to save you? I've said this 1,000 times. You can depend on yourself and yourself alone. If you're lucky enough to have a community of like-minded people around you, that is great. But ladies and gentlemen, ask yourselves, who's going to come and save you when the supermarkets are closed? Who's going to come and save you when the banks are closed and you didn't take a few dollars out to have just in case? Who's going to come to save you? Is it going to be your neighbor down the road that has 3 or 4 kids that they have to feed themselves? Ask yourselves, who is it? I'm pleading with you. Who is going to come and save you? Because it's not me. I can't come and save you. Just like the government can't come and save you. What has the government done for you in the last year except for print out money and send you a few checks of money that you're now paying back and will pay back for the rest of your life? What has the government done to save you? And you know what, ladies and gentlemen? This is early in the morning. It's like 4:30 in the morning right now. I'm a happy morning person. But this is a message that needs to be put out. People need to wake up. They need to understand that if they're going to survive this thing that is going on, and I can get conspiratorial on you, but I won't. But in my opinion, the United States of America, along with many other Western nations, are being demolished. It is a controlled demolition. And there is nothing that we can do to stop it. Sure, we can stop going to work Sure, we can stock up on stuff that we need because we know that the stores are going to run out. There's nothing that we can do to stop it, ladies and gentlemen. But if we're not prepared to get through it and then be strong enough on the other side, after the violence begins, because violence will begin, violence will start eventually. But are you going to be strong enough to make it through that and make it to the other side, so that hopefully we can start again with a good foundation, maybe with the same foundation that we originally started with as a republic? When you have a republic that appoints a government, it is very clear that the government is there to protect your liberties, not to tell you how to live your lives. So if we can start over with a government that has a good foundation, a good financial foundation, meaning that it is a fair and true financial foundation where you cannot make something out of nothing, because that something that you made out of nothing is stealing the wealth out of everything that everyone else has produced with their labor. And a moral foundation where right is right and wrong is wrong, and there's no in between. That's why we prepare, so that we don't have to see our families suffer, and so that we can be strong enough as a nation, so that after the dust settles, we can be strong enough to start anew with people that can lead, with people of morals. Because, ladies and gentlemen, the wicked, they will perish. The wicked, the evil, they will lose. But how strong will we be? How strong will the good be once this is over? So that's why I say prepared. Stay prepared. Prepare as much as you can. Don't care about what anyone says. What you have to ask yourselves is this. By now you probably think I'm a crazy man if you've never been to this channel before. Ask yourselves this, ladies and gentlemen. Everything that I just talked about, you can afford, 100%, you can afford for me to be wrong. But can you afford for me to be right? And even just one or two of the things that I've covered. Can you afford for me to be right that shortages will continue? Can you afford for me to be right that things will get worse as far as violence? Can you afford for me to be right that there will probably be a very big energy crisis here in the United States? I see oil easily going up to $100 within the next couple of months. And next year, this time next year, maybe even $150, $200. What will that mean to you? What will that mean to your purchasing power? How much money do you spend on fuel, either to fuel your home, fuel your vehicles? How much does it cost for farmers to fuel their machinery? You think those costs won't be transferred over to you? Absolutely. So prepare.